We have Don Bingle here again tonight. He's been here a couple of times with us, and we always enjoy what he brings to the Waterline writers. Don Bingle has written 3 novels, a couple novellas, about 50 pieces of short fiction in the science fiction, horror, fantasy, thriller, steampunk, mystery, romance, and comedy genres. He is currently running a crowdfunding campaign on Kickstarter for Frame Shop, a mystery thriller novella set in a writer's group and punctuated by violence, humor, and occasional writing of advice. Early participants can still get a free copy of 4 bonus stories, including Seasons Critiquings and Someday, both of which Don read at past events here at Waterline. Seasons Critiquings might have been a favorite of many people who were here that night. You can still see it on our video library. In fact, you can see all 180 videos of the different readings that we've had in the past 2.5 years at waterlinewriters.org. More on Don and his writing available at donaldjbingle.com. Don, come on up.
Hi there, I'm Don Bingle, and Ann was nice enough to let me tell you a little bit about the Kickstarter for my novella Frame Shop, which is a mystery thriller set in a writer's group and punctuated by violence, humor, and occasional writing advice. Kickstarters are used by artists, writers, musicians, inventors, manufacturers, and retailers to raise money and market awareness for new and innovative projects. Sure, authors don't have the same type of capital costs as musicians cutting a record or inventors needing to buy raw materials, but they do need to build awareness and market themselves and their work. My experience as a story author in anthologies that have been kickstarted shows this is a great way to make self-publishing actually pay. Please be sure to pick up one of my cards, which will give you a shortened URL on the back so that you can go directly to my project on your computer or your smartphone. You simply go to the site, learn about the project, pick what rewards you want for pledging, starting as low as $5, then check out using Amazon's payment system. Happy to explain more about the project and how Kickstarter works to anyone who has any questions afterwards. Not surprisingly, I'm reading a scene from Frame Shop tonight. I believe that dialogue defines characters and picked this scene to show that. You may not like what these characters say, but knowing their views, not mine, helps establish who they are. To set up the scene, you only need to know that Guy, a hitman, has been working with a hack writer he calls Sweater Vest, who plots out Guy's hits in order to frame others for Guy's murders. During one of their meets, Guy finds out that Sweater Vest has attended the funeral of one of Guy's victims. "You did what?" Guy yelled without thinking. He dialed down his continuing remarks to a barely restrained, low-rolling thunder. "Are you a friggin' moron?" When Sweater Vest didn't immediately respond, he continued on. "You never ever in a million years go to the funeral of a target. You understand?" If he'd had a .22 in his hand, he might have offed Sweater Vest on the spot. Maybe even if he'd had a knife, like the one in that movie. It would be easy to gut the unsuspecting suburbanite moron on the spot, sit his body down on a park bench, and move on with his day and his life. Except he didn't have a knife on him at the moment. That was probably a good thing, because if he started stabbing this idiot, he wasn't sure he would be able to stop. Most crimes of passion probably had nothing to do with love, or lust, or sex, but they probably had plenty to do with someone being an idiot when someone else had a weapon in their hand. Sweater Vest's clueless, dumb stare finally resolved itself into a look of bewildered insult. I was just following through on the assignment. Guy grabbed Sweater Vest's shoulder and leaned in to talk to him nose to nose, not caring if a little spittle sprayed forth as he punctuated each word for emphasis. "There is no follow-through on murder." Guy closed his eyes for a moment and shook his head in disbelief. "Once the hit is dead, you're through. Get it? Dead means done." "Well, for you, sure." Sweater Vest rolled his eyes. He rolled his friggin' eyes at Guy. But for a writer to assess the effectiveness of his work, he has to see how the public reacts. He has to gauge whether they found the world he created not only credible, but compelling. In this instance, I wanted to see if the sister looked more frightened than sad, whether the target's family looked at the sister with accusation in their eyes, whether members of the community were less than wholehearted in their expressions of sorrow, whether the police guy actually felt his blood pressure skyrocket from its already elevated level. Jesus, Mary, and Joseph, the police were there? What if they'd asked why you were there? Sweater Vest made a face and scratched his cheek while he thought for a second, but Guy didn't have the patience for the wordsmith to work through his transitory writer's block. Holy Mother of God, tell me they weren't taking pictures of the mourners. Tell me they weren't taking down license plate numbers of all the cars at the cemetery. Tell me you didn't do something so stupid that it's going to get you questioned or caught. Sweater Vest wrinkled his brow, as if he were replaying the funeral scene in his head. I don't remember seeing anyone with a camera. Guy clenched and unclenched his fists. See anyone with a phone? Because that's all you need these days. A phone and a leisurely turn to take a panoramic shot of everyone everywhere. They can blow up the picture later and get all the details they need. Oh, I guess that's true. But I don't recall anyone doing anything like that. I mean, not anything obvious. What if they figure out who you are and that you have no connection whatsoever to the deceased? What if they come to your door and want answers? Well, Sweater Vest temporized. I guess I'd just tell them. Guy interrupted. And don't say you just tell them that you read about the murder in the paper and wanted to express your condolences. Nobody crashes graveside services. They crash weddings and wakes, because that's where the free booze is. Besides, I may not know you all that well, but even I can tell that you're not the kind of guy who has a reputation for spontaneous expressions of sympathy to random strangers. If this was a Lifetime movie, you'd get cast as the creepy dude who spends too much time watching kids in the park. Guy could see Sweater Vest's blood pressure was rising too. The fellow's face was flushing red, and his jaw was clenched tight for a few moments before he responded. There's no need to be insulting. I have a perfectly good reason to give should anyone ask me why I was at the funeral. It's the same reason I can give for being anywhere, anytime, watching anything from bums urinating on the subway platform to young women walking by in thin summer dresses. I'm a writer. My job is to observe things, notice them, experience them, memorize them, and keep them in my mind's eye for later use. Everything, everywhere is grist from my mill, and I grind my flour into a soft, smooth, silky silt. Characters, settings, emotions, storylines, places, things, clothing, arcane bits of description and poetry. A writer has an excuse for knowing everything from nuclear weapon yields to whether college girls typically wear thongs to avoid panty lines on their tight jeans when they're attending a kegger at the local frat. I can go anywhere on the excuse of gathering information. I can ask questions about a building security system, or untraceable poisons, or what knots are best used in S&M bondage sessions without blinking, because I can always say it's research for a book. I don't even have to produce the book. I can always say I haven't written it yet. Jesus, the kid was really wound tight. I'm a writer. I have the perfect excuse for anything. If I say something stupid or offensive or racist, I don't have to apologize, because I can say I did it to gauge reaction, to make a scene or a bit of dialogue more realistic. If I want to take a needlepoint class, I don't have to be embarrassed, because I can say it's for a project I'm working on. If I want to loiter around a shop that sells sex toys, or ask the local biker gang about their preferences in automatic weapons, or purchase a battle axe, I can say it's for a book. Heck, I can even deduct it from my taxes. Look, people may not like writers, they may not respect them or pay them well, but they understand that writers are strange people who do strange things all the time. They tolerate them, like kids with Down syndrome. They may not want to be around them, and they may thank God they don't have one of them in the family, but they understand they can't help what they are. And if you don't make eye contact or aggravate them too much, they'll wander off and be weird somewhere else real soon. Sweater Vest paused for a moment before continuing, his voice calmer. Listen, you don't need to worry about my end. I don't worry about yours. We're both professionals here. Just keep in mind that should someone stumble across our friendship, I have a perfectly credible reason for talking to you. What's your reason for talking to me? Thank you.